welcome back to another Sims 4 building challenge. Today I'm going to be building something realistic, as true to real life as possible. I'm going to be building a realistic house, really much so inspired by Deligracy's recent video. So she's done this super like true to life Australian home with like scuff marks on the walls, a realistic family inside the house, adding rooms like a laundry, a pantry, but also things like gutters, vents. So I'm going to be inspired by my own house. We're gonna build it in Innis Green because obviously this is a world inspired by Ireland, and I'm going to start us off with actually sketching out what my house looks like, and then once we're done the layout I will start placing down some objects. The way Deligracy did her video was absolutely just like top notch, 10 out of 10. She got like loads of her items out, even like debug things, but I think I'm not going to use debug because sometimes debug really overwhelms me. Her house is kind of interesting, so look, I'm not going to keep you here any further waiting. Subscribe if you are enjoying my content, and of course check out Deligracy's video if you want like a full in-depth Australian house. We live on a hill, and I think I'm just going to ignore the hill because the hill is not going to make sense here. So I will start us off straight away, and I think, you know what, before we go any further, I might get some items out just for scale. Her garage is quite small. It wouldn't really fit a car in, but what I do have in my garage, which against my will really because we're renting this house, but that's where the washing machine is. Already I'm seeing this and it is probably a little too big. Then as you come out from this garage, we have a small little bathroom, which honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I never go into this room. Then if you imagine, because we're on a hill, our house almost like ascends up. This would almost have a step here. I could actually maybe try and do that with platforms. Now, the one really bad thing about my house is that the kitchen is absolutely tiny, and you will see why I absolutely hate this in a minute. So we've just got like a regular fridge, just say, for the moment, I am placing down just placeholders to figure out how big this kitchen will be, because you will see how small my kitchen is. Essentially, all I really have in the kitchen is this prep counter. Then we've got another counter, and then we've got a counter with a sink, and then that's kind of it. So I would essentially have to bring this in quite far. But considering this does make sense size-wise, I guess I'm not going to make this any skinnier. So I might just, for the purpose of this, add another counter here. I might still change this. Yeah, look, we'll figure this out once we get to it. So then coming out of this room, I have a really large dining room. And honestly, this dining room is the width of like the entirety of the rest of the house. We don't use this as our dining room. This is where my cat lives. As in, like, the cat lives obviously throughout the whole house, but my cat has like his whole house, his whole like life in this room. All of his toys. He's a bit spoiled, I'm not gonna lie. I actually have my dining table tucked into the wall because we never use it. Like, we eat in front of the TV. Because I'm trying to make this house as realistic, I might still change this because this is not realistic to everybody. Whereas like Deligracy kind of based it off of a lot of different homes. For the moment, I'm just going to show you what my layout is, but once we actually get to furnishing, I will change this because I think that would look really ugly, but I just need to see the actual size and the shaping of this. Then we've got a radiator kind of like here under the windows. So yeah, then I reckon I would put two windows kind of like this, and of course I'm going to be adding like windowsills because I don't understand why The Sims doesn't have windowsills. We also have got a fireplace in this room. Oh my god, this room is so big, but it actually is this big in real life. It's kind of annoying. I might make it a little bit shorter depending on what the sitting room is going to be. We've got like built up cabinets here. We literally have something like this, but almost some of them have more shelves and stuff. Then we gave my cat the couch. So there was two couches originally in the sitting room, and we decided to move it around because we got like a different chair. My cat literally has a couch all to himself and he sleeps on it. I mean, it's great for him, but he is a bit spoiled. I was really excited to do this video. Like, I enjoyed watching Deligracy's video so much because I love the idea of like all of these kind of realistic builds, because a lot of the time in The Sims, we obviously don't build too many realistic things, or else we try to make them realistic, but there's always like, it's The Sims, so it's never going to be like super realistic. But I think with challenges like this, it really just shows you what other places are around the world, which I just find really interesting. Then we've got a hallway. We kind of have like a little glass room. So imagine literally kind of like this door, but it's a slidey door, and then just like more glass this way and this way. It actually would be a little bit shorter than that. And we've got like a big enough front door. Then we've got a set of stairs which are carpeted, which I don't think we've got carpeted stairs in the game. And honestly, looking at the kind of size, I would say that this is the size. So I would have to almost make this even wider. So our sitting room is kind of connected to the house like this. And then we've got a really nice big window here. But now I feel like the room is actually too wide still. Wait, maybe we are right, but look how comedically large that dining room is. And the cat, weirdly enough, kind of has his food bowls like just here because it's like really close to the door. So just imagine like some food bowls. Lovely. Okay, so I made this house a little bit smaller. So now it kind of makes a little bit more sense. I still find it so random how I'm going to have to furnish the back of the house, like really realistically. Even for like the purpose of the video, I think I might just move this room around to make it a little bit more, you know, normal, because our house is definitely clearly not normal. We will then have another fireplace on the other side. So that's a very common thing in Irish homes, to have a fireplace both in the kitchen and in the sitting room, and they obviously like touch off of each other. As well as that, we've got a radiator. There would be a door just kind of almost like this. I feel like the radiator is a little longer. Just imagine like this thing kind of like here. And then I've got like a big kind of spinny round chair. We don't have anything like that in The Sims, honestly. It's kind of like, imagine this but a giant version. Look, I'm just showing you what my house looks like, but we will move this around. We then have got like one of these here with a TV on top of it. So we've got like a TV sitting kind of like up here. And yeah, again, it makes no sense, but that's just how we have it. And we just kind of sit and watch the TV like this. So then moving upstairs, this is where the layout is literally like almost the same in like every single house. So we've got a wall bringing you up to the landing space, and straight away as you're up into the landing, we've got a window. Not everyone has this window here, but we're lucky enough to have that to bring in some natural light. We then have gotten a very small box room. We've actually got a roof here as well. How bloody small are we talking? Yeah, it kind of makes more sense like this. We then have got a bathroom kind of like that, and we close this space off. Okay, my stairs are deleted. That's fantastic. So essentially we've got a big enough shower. It feels like it should be a little bit bigger because we've got the toilet literally kind of like this, and then a standalone sink like that by itself. So maybe if you can imagine, although you know what, maybe that does make sense. And then we also have got 2 other bedrooms. We are currently in my office space as we're recording this. No, this is wrong, guys. Wait a second. Why is this wall like coming out? This space feels a lot shorter. I wish I could make the stairs more like steeper, if you get me, because I feel like the banister, oh, it's because of this. Oh, wait a second. Have I messed up this whole house entirely? All right, guys, I have figured it out. So I know the bathroom seems a little large now, but it does make sense because we've got like a 2-person shower, which I guess I'm not really going to be able to create here. So imagine like this, but then also like a little bit more. Like it's a big enough shower. It does still seem a little big, I'm not gonna lie, but I do then have got a wall kind of coming like this. And where we're sitting right now is like literally right here. So that's the desk that I'm at. Master bedroom over here, which honestly, when we first moved in, I think this was the master bedroom. A lot of people prefer to have their master bedrooms. Okay, that seems way too big actually, now that I think about it. Hey guys, so this is what the actual house looks like. I figured it out. So we also have got like a little boiler room, which I know I've been going on about these like boilers in my game recently, but we've got a boiler room like upstairs. So if you can imagine like this object, but it would be inside here. And honestly, that is so annoying how I won't be able to fit this. Unless I scaled this one down, it actually would make sense. This is also like, I think people call this like a linen cupboard, because as much as this is a boiler room, we also have got like shelves here. Now, the room that I'm in currently, on this wall, we've got like built-in wardrobes, which is honestly a really lovely part of this house. And then when you go into our bedroom, we also have got built-in wardrobes too. So that is essentially like the easiest way to describe what's going on here. It's that we've got the boiler room taking up a little bit of a tile to make also room for the built-in wardrobes. Here, again, if we had half tiles, this would make a little bit more sense because I could add a half tile to this box room, as well as a half tile would be taken up here for the bedroom, because almost the doors kind of open to little nooks. And then yeah, we've got just our bedroom here, which is great. And then we've got a lot of room. This may not seem like a lot of room, but our bedroom does seem quite big. We also have like another chest of drawers, but as I said, I think what I'm going to do with this build is I'm going to furnish it the way it is very common now. Our house, there's a lot of different things that we would do to it, so maybe I'll do that for the furnishings. I'm not just going to do exactly like what we've got, but this essentially is our layout. I don't understand why every time you put a platform down in a separate room, the roof comes in. So I don't know how I'm going to make this shower, but if you could imagine, it's almost like this, but if I could use half tiles, and all of this is glass. But now that I think about it, a lot of new builds also do have literally just one of these, so it's like a bath shower combo. So maybe I could actually just install that here, and for us it's still common enough to have just like a standalone basic basin like that. I have seen in new builds more so of like this kind of thing happening. So I guess maybe I could also try and add that here. We would still have a radiator in the exact spot where it was. Same kind of toilet like that. So yeah, maybe we'll just try and make it a little bit more, you know, like a combination of some of the builds. But if you can imagine, like this is where I'm sitting right now in my house, and it's also semi-detached. So if you could just take this and mirror it and add a second one added onto here, that's then my neighbor. But I think what I'm going to do next is let's move it a small bit, right? And essentially we have a paved flooring, but then we've also got like a little paved section around the side that brings you all the way to like the back of the house. We do have really nice big hedges that keep us closed off from the neighbors, but then we've also got like a little, yeah, see, I can't put the wall like directly here, so again, this is really not going to make any sense logically, but we do have like hedging kind of like protecting us from the neighbors, and then we've got massive trees all the way around our house, which is actually one of my favorite parts of my house. If you can imagine like big kind of trees like this, but also, you know, those like hedges, I wish I knew what they were called, but it's like these really tall hedges. They're like really big. Literally imagine like this, but like two of them, like they're big, and they're like those like evergreen ones. Maybe I could actually do that here, and it's not too bad of an idea. It's of course going to be impossible to actually get the right feel of the house, but I think this is the closest thing I can kind of show you. And in Ireland, grass grows so fast, and there is so much greenery and foliage around the place that this doesn't even kind of show you the extent of what the grassiness feels like around here. Usually in the pavement, if it's a new build, it's literally just going to be concrete like this. In our case, we also have concrete, but some people would have like a little bit of like a stone. So I think to make it a little bit more interesting and realistic, I might actually turn this into a cobblestone like this, right? Because this does look like it's slightly more worn, and honestly, especially right now, our pavement is green with moss. We also have got like an outhouse, which not a lot of new builds have, and it's not an outhouse, but there's also another boiler in there, and that's for the radiators, but the one that's inside here is for heating the water. I also never go into that room because it is full of spiders. And we've got an electricity box inside the shed, like inside the garage. It's actually quite high up like this. Our garage is really messy, to be honest with you, I'm not gonna lie, so it's not the greatest. Logically, if we were to remodel this house, I probably would do a kitchen on this side and have like all of my washing machines and like kind of like a pantry inside this room. But because I am going for some sort of realism here, I think I will change our layout, because I know the way our table is like tucked into the corner. But for here, I actually will do a nice big enough table in the center. And almost this is what it felt like when we moved in, before we moved things around to suit us as renters. Although then again, now that I think about it, I could just totally change this around, and actually we could do just like a regular workspace inside here, and we could actually make this into a pantry space. That could be quite ideal for the realism, that we could do like washing machine and like a nice like big pantry section. Oh guys, now I've got so many ideas, I don't really know what to do. I guess also let's go and do some more of the realistic kind of things. So we have our bins at the side of the house here, which honestly there's no specific reason for why they're out here. I think it is just for us, it's closer to be able to bring them out to get wheeled away. So we've got 3 different bins. Those are not the exact colors, but we wheeled them around the side, and then we put them like around the front here for the bin men to collect. Honestly, outside the back of our house, we've got like stacks of wheels. So my fiance is into like cars and stuff. We don't have cars in The Sims, so no point of even talking about this, but we've got like wheels and stuff. And honestly, the werewolves pack, oh my god, yeah, literally like we've got stacks of wheels. We've got like things like this at the side of our house, so maybe I'll actually put some of these here. Do we not have like you know, like one of these but a bigger version? This thing. Okay, yeah, so we've got like one of these. I don't know why we would have a barrel here, but I feel like that also feels realistic. We've also got like a storage section here, so somewhere like imagine like a big one of them, and that's where I put all of my gardening supplies. Half of the time when I do my washing, I of course do it on the line, like I put it out on the line whenever it's possible, but due to the horrific weathers here in Ireland, I can't always do this. So So this is really a luxury. I can only do this whenever it is nice and sunny. Irish people don't really have barbecues, so I'm not necessarily going to put like a massive grill. Yeah, that's kind of what the house looks like. So our house is kind of painted half like a little stone and then half just regular concrete. A lot of the houses aren't painted in Ireland just because it is so expensive to paint a house. We 100% have gutters, and we've got quite, just regular ones like this. Now, our gutters always need to be cleaned out, to be fair, because of the amount of like gunk and stuff that appears, especially in the winter time. It's like it's flood season and everyone prepares with like sandbags and stuff. And then we would have a little chimney over on this side. So obviously that's the side that has the fireplaces. I'm kind of looking at what else we would have, but Irish builds are extremely simple. They're built, I guess the older builds are built a little bit more durable, even though of course those would be slightly more run down and needing a little bit of TLC. But looking at the way that the new builds are built, I think Deligracy also mentioned that a little bit about Australian builds, but our new builds are also slightly shocking. And you know what? No, look, they're not that bad. They're obviously built and they are nice and fresh, but unfortunately they are not built very well. And I have seen a lot of people complaining about them already, and it is actually bizarre spending so much money on a new build and then being disappointed. I think for the flooring, I will just do what I think is most common. Kind of liked how Deligracy was really much so inspired by a house that she was looking at online. I mean, I kind of want to combine our house with a little bit of like what new builds do and kind of what our house also has. So a lot of new builds actually let you decide whether you want to do carpet or if you want to do wood, and a lot of people still go for carpet. So maybe we will do a little bit of carpet in both rooms, even though I kind of don't want to have carpet. I wish we could just take up the carpet and just do wood around everywhere. And the wood that people choose these days is actually tiling that makes it look like it's wood because it is a lot more durable. A lot of the houses here also would be painted a very boring color, and most of our houses, even this room actually, it's painted like this weird yellow, like magnolia color, but I cannot bring myself to doing that. So I will just make it as close to a new build as it is physically possible, because those are literally all just white. Like, it's just white at its finest. Every room is white, and you're actually not allowed to paint your house for a good while. After you get it, obviously get it for yourself, because the walls crack and the contractors are, I guess, contracted to continue to monitor your house for a while and fix like issues like wall cracking and things like that. So I guess that's one sort of good part about new builds in that respect, but they have a lot to fix, which I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of funny. Like, it's insane that they have to come back and fix some stuff. But I guess the house does move, so it has the right to like crack. I'm just making sure that the wallpapers that I do choose have skirting boards. I feel like in most countries, places are just painted white just because it is that much easier to recreate a house. We also have got like that outdoor brick inside this section, actually, except for, no, we have the concrete on this portion. Yeah, that makes sense. And then here we just have like tiling. So I think I might just make this also as simple as possible. Actually, this kind of tiling is what we have. Very, very similar to this. So maybe I'll actually use that on this portion. And then honestly, the bathrooms these days, especially with the new builds, are all very plain. Literally, actually, this stuff, that's kind of what we have. I suppose that does allow whoever lives here to kind of create their own space out of, a house that they are either purchasing or renting. So that's kind of what I'm getting inspired by the most. Just the idea of this being like a blank canvas for somebody to, begin their life. So maybe will I actually try and put the kitchen here and make like a pantry out of that space? Because look, if that was the case, then we would definitely have probably actually, these counters. This is the funny thing, because I really like these, and these are so realistic, but not all of them would have like the pull-out drawer. The pull-out drawer is only for cutlery, so you would then switch it up and have something like this. And that's the kind of annoying thing about The Sims, that we technically just have one. Like, I know we've got like this thing too, which that is realistic, but I also need another one with just drawers. So if we were being realistic, we would still keep the fireplace here, but maybe we could make the fireplace slightly smaller, because I know a lot of more fancier new builds would change it to have like one of these kind of fireplaces to still have like that really nice aesthetic of a fireplace, because like it's kind of hard to just remove a fireplace, I mean, you could just plaster it over, but I guess that kind of makes a little bit more sense. Fridges are extremely big in Ireland, and a lot of people are obsessed now with buying the ones that make you ice and stuff. We never had the luxury of having things like this. So I kind of like that idea. I mean, I wish I had a cupboard like that, fridge like that, sorry. And these days, a lot of people are going for kind of neutral colors, but they also pair it sometimes with like really dark greens or navies. I think it's gone very popular to do like navy counters, but I don't even think in The Sims we've got a counter that's specifically like a dark green or a dark navy. Kind of this, but with white. Maybe actually these would work a bit better. Yeah, you know what? Maybe I'll go for this kind of bluey color, but if you can imagine that being a little bit more navy. And yeah, the radiator still kind of does make sense there. God knows where you would put your bin though, to be honest with you. Maybe I'll move the fireplace a little bit and just put a bin out here. Also, none of these bins are realistic to me. The only bin that I actually look at and I'm like, okay, this would be a realistic bin is actually this like diaper one. No, well, actually, no, I have one bin that's like opened kind of like this, but all of our bins are closed. And in Ireland, it's like a very common thing to just have a bin that has a lid, especially with the toilets as well in The Sims. Like, why don't you have a lid for things? So honestly, none of these, if you can imagine actually this metal one, everyone has a bin like this, but just with a lid, and you like either press it or else you just open it. We like to have our bins closed off. So I guess that is quite realistic here. Islands are also not necessarily too common in Irish homes. I think it would be more so the idea of the open plan dining with the kitchen. In my parents' house, we don't have one. In a lot of builds like this, especially, islands are definitely not a thing. It's becoming more popular to have a small island. I think you can buy them in IKEA. They would be almost more similar to the kitchen clutter island. You know, that like standalone item, like this thing. And people still put like little stools next to it. But honestly, I think for this purpose, I don't think I will do it. I mean, it probably still, if we were going to make this our house, like if I'm actually refurbishing our house, which would be fantastic, we could move the dining table like this and then still do a little island. How would that look actually? You know what? That's actually really nice. My God, I wish I could buy my house and actually do this. Yeah, something like that. That does make a lot of sense. Wow. And then you would have like a really big painting or else a TV. Actually, a TV is very common. Like a small enough TV, like above the fireplace in the kitchen. A lot of people love their TVs inside their kitchen. This more so, this kind of layout does really remind me of a new build. Actually, now that I think about it, this literally reminds me of my friend's house. They've bought a new build recently and it is beautiful. But yeah, actually, a lot of it would be like this. Just not a lot of people have the counters. And now that I think about it, if we are thinking about this being a new build, I feel like the flooring is a little bit more common, being just, oh my God, that literally looks like everyone else's house, which is kind of sad because I feel like every new build that you purchase these days kind of looks the exact same. It is a little bit sad. People really decorate their spaces more so with the furniture that they are purchasing afterwards, but everything is just painted white and grey and it's a little sad, but whatever. I think this still really does look quite interesting. Okay guys, so I've kind of completed this room. I'm trying to make it as realistic as possible. I guess I maybe will add some like cat items here as well to show that, you know, in our house, the cat does actually live here. But just imagining all of the kind of new builds that I've experienced, that's kind of what we've got. Now, I want to make this realistic in the sense that we've got appliances, and the kettle is definitely the most important appliances. One of the most appliances that we've got in the house. So definitely a kettle here with like some tea bags and stuff like that would be quite necessary. Maybe I might actually add some like extra cups around the place because people love their tea here and I love a good tea. Herbal or else just regular like English tea with milk. I don't have that very often. Herbal is definitely my go-to, but definitely we've got like clutter everywhere. And as much as we always use the kind of corner counter for microwave, in this case I actually decided to go against that and put the microwave into the pantry because that would be my, oh excuse me, why can't you go, yeah, there we go. That would be my dream, to have a pantry like this with a microwave. I also love blending smoothies, so I've got my little, oh God, what is that brand called? It's like a smoothie maker. It's a very popular brand in Ireland. And then also I cannot live without my rice cooker, so definitely we would have, you know, things like this. We might have like a fruit basket and stuff like that as well, but this also would be combined with your washing and drying section. So I mean, it's kind of simple. There's not much to it. I've also added extra bins here because then I thought to myself, even though my bins have lids, so they're not like that, but we do have like random bins. I mean, not random bins, but we've got a couple of bins. You got one for recycling, one for waste, one for general waste. So there are multiple multiple different bins around the place, but I guess that kind of would work here. So guys, I have been working a little bit just literally on these 2 rooms. It's taken me quite some time and I didn't really expect it to take me this long. I guess I am thinking about everything that I am used to seeing. Now, the thing is, this is what I will mention, which I know some of you guys hate when I do that, but I'm not going to make this a kid-friendly home. I mean, not to say that kids are not allowed into this house, but I mean, this definitely could be a brilliant family house. And most of these houses, of course, would be used for families. This could be a beautiful baby room or whatever. Also, why does that look like my carpet is like faint? Like there's like a faint line. It looks like there was like water damage, but I think it's just the lighting. That looks really weird. Is it the windows? Oh my God, do you see? Okay, maybe I'm going crazy, but it looks like there's like a bit of a stain on the carpet, which is kind of realistic. But I don't have any kids, of course, and none of my friends have kids. Well, some of them do, like babies kind of sort of thing, but I'm definitely not a kid kind of person, and definitely nobody from my friend group, I suppose, has kids just yet. So it's not something that is very common to me, and as I said, I'm not really a kid person. You know, bad as it sounds, I just don't really want them in the near future, like at all. And to a lot of people, you know, you like to see me build realistic homes in that respect, that you would want to see some kid items and stuff. Unfortunately, I'm not going to do it here just because it's just not realistic to me, and I am trying to make this like a combination of realism when it comes to like my life, as well as, you know, some of the people that I've seen and some of the new builds that I'm seeing. And you know, it is very common for a lot of new, I suppose, families to buy a new build, but like oh my God, I've never seen this object. Oh my God, this is so cute. That is really cute. Anyways, a lot of those people don't have kids yet, and it's just more common to me to not have kids in a house, I guess. I also am an only child, so that could be a half of the reason for why I don't ever really do kid items. It's because when I was growing up, I didn't really have a lot of stuff going, you know, around the place for like my siblings and things. So I think that's part of the reason why I don't like jump into generational gameplay straight away. And that is going to be the same with this house. I am making it a little bit more adult themed, even though it is a new build, or well, it's a mixture of an old and new build, and it definitely has the room for family, but it's just not something I enjoy, unfortunately. So sorry about that. It's just the way it is. I do not know why something possesses me to always put chipper, and I just looked into my cupboard and it is like old, like wood. It almost has like wood chipper vibe, so I am gonna put that into that shelf. Now for this room, I guess I'm gonna pretend that this is just like a spare bedroom, because as I said, when we first moved in, this was like, it had a bed. It didn't really have much in it, but if you are gonna be doing a spare bedroom, and a lot of the new builds that I have seen, this would be very basic. Like there would be so little items in here, and a lot of this would actually just be extra storage for the family that has moved in. Maybe actually something like this, like a wooden little nightstand. We've got the radiator here, and I guess if you are looking at this being an old build, when we moved in, the curtains were hideous. They had like an ugly pattern and they were so skinny and small. So when you see around my house, like we have these like really long, tall, very basic curtains all around the house. I think that's why I'm obsessed with these curtains, because I don't have like a wooden thing holding them up. I mean, I wish I did, but a lot of new builds kind of build the curtains into the ceiling almost. So that's why I love these curtains, because these seem very realistic to where I live. I mean, my curtains are not sheer. You can get these in sheer as well, but I've chosen to have thick ones just for the lighting. So if I'm like recording at nighttime and if I want to close them, just makes that bit more sense. These curtains are actually not that far-fetched of an idea here in Ireland, or else we would literally have something like this. I mean, it probably wouldn't be a gold bar at the top. It probably would literally be that. So it's very simple. It's very basic. And then a lot of homes I've seen people do this thing where they just get that extra clothing rack. So maybe just like one of these with some extra clothes on. I mean, these people also have like built-in wardrobes, so they're pretty lucky. But maybe just something like this, like a simple design. Then we could just like clutter some some extra boxes here. We could add maybe some makeup on that vanity. I was always so good at like keeping on top of my laundry, and I think recently I just like really lost it. And the reason being is because here in Ireland it's so bloody cold in the winter, and the humidity in the air is just insane. Like it's cold, it's damp, it's actually just like, it pisses me off honestly in the winter time. It's just so like uncomfortable, because at least, you know, what am I looking for? Sink bathroom. At least in Poland it is very cold and also like snowy, which is fantastic, but the temperatures being so cold are more enjoyable than the temperatures here. Honestly, I don't know what it is. I think it's like here it's so cold that it almost like goes into your bones, and it's like, get out, like I'm so cold. Whereas also I feel like every time I'm in Poland, even though it is very cold and it's snowing, it's drier. Like it feels drier. My lungs aren't like heaving. I don't know. It's actually just crazy. But here I feel like I catch a cold so much faster. This is just me giving out about the seasons, guys. So just ignore me. On the bedside lockers, I will try and make them as realistic as possible, because I always put a plant on my bedside locker in The Sims, but never in a million years did I have a plant on my bedside locker at any house. Maybe like a fake plant, you know, those like fake IKEA fern ones, but never a real plant. So I need to stop doing that in this house. But I definitely want like some clutter items, maybe like a book on the ground. I wish we had things like phone chargers. That would be ideal. And now actually that I think about it, I need to add shelves as my windowsills, because we've got windowsills, and I feel like you guys also have windowsills. Just The Sims absolutely hates windowsills. I think I might raise this window up and this one too, because we have a windowsill everywhere. My cat is obsessed with sitting on this windowsill recently, so I'll add that one here for him as well. Other things we must not forget are things like light switches, because obviously that is also very important. And where are mine? Yeah, mine are just here. So literally just as you come in, a little bit higher than the handle, I suppose, just so you can like clip them. But then the one for the bathroom is outside of the bathroom. We don't have a light actually inside the boiler room, so that's fantastic. And then we've also got one here. And then also I think there's one like here in the spare room. As we come in through the front door, I actually have got 3 light switches. So these, one of them does the outside light, and then the other one does the downstairs here, and then the other one does the upstairs. That's kind of realistic to have 3 here. And we've got one here as well, and we've got actually 2 here, because our like dining room is actually separated into 2. And I'm gonna also leave saucers in this room, because saucers are so common, like the new kind of kitchens, so it just makes sense. And we've got another light switch for outside, as well as we got this like weird like red light switch. I don't really know what it does, and you really have no idea what it does, but I never click it. I just leave it there. But there is 2 light switches there. Also, just for the hanging lights, so I've just added some extra clutter here and things like that. But for the lights, I'm looking at my light, and it's just like a triangular lampshade, so kind of like this thing, but not as fancy as that. These days in new builds, you either just have saucers or else these and like a beigey color. So maybe I will just add this like that, and we can just pretend it's like, it's a literal triangle. I'm trying to like find something that's really similar, but there's kind of nothing here, and that just always makes me wonder how different countries, like what like lampshades do you guys have, because none of these are realistic to what I have in my house anyways. So yeah, I know this room is very basic and very boring. That is just kind of what I've seen. I wouldn't even have like a rug here. Now looking at our bed, actually, if we were to put a bed down, our bed is kind of like this. If there was like a gray version of this, literally kind of like this. So our backboard is this kind of fabric almost, but a little bit more gray actually. Let's see, is there any other swatch? Actually, maybe this green one works, because I do have a lot of really nice green duvet sheets, and I guess I will just use these kind of like IKEA drawers. I would never have it so close into the wall like that. Ours has like a little bit of room. I mean, like everything does. When I'm hoovering, actually, I need to add a hoover. Hold on there now. A vacuum is under my stairs. And again, my vacuum does not look like this, but it's a little blue kind of vacuum like that. And I also, just while I'm here, I will add a little stand, like kind of like a thing here. It's actually kind of something like this, but wooden and black. Or else actually this thing, if this had, that's actually, if you did it the opposite way around, but with wood, that would be very similar. But we also then have like shoes all around there. So maybe if I put you kind of like as close as I can in there, and we could just add some shoes around. And we've also got like jackets underneath there. If I could combine these two, actually, could that work? Furniture just doesn't match in people's people's homes, even if they've got like this brand new house that they just got and it's just fantastic and everything is just so lovely and new and clean, it's still like not everything is realistic. And I also feel like you would use the table as like a little place to like put your keys down and stuff. Like as soon as we come in, I always tend to force us to put stuff on that little table because that's what the table is designed for, all the clutter. But we still come in and put things onto the table. So that's realistic. But yeah, I always try to tell myself that not everyone is always going to have a very lovely and tidy home with everything matching. Now I do have a little fake plant underneath there and actually a lamp as well, even though the lamp is like USB powered and I never charge it, but there is a little lamp. It's kind of like, actually, do you know what? It's actually like one of these things. It's plastic though, so it's like not really fancy at all. And then I've got my bag up here. Guys, this is gonna be the closest thing I can create to like a realistic home. And then also over here we've got another little table. Now this one is it white? Oh my god, why am I like forgetting what my house looks like? Got another little tray for like keys and stuff, but mainly the only thing that's on this is like actually like this lovely array of fake plants that I put on this. Actually, you know what? This. Literally something like that. And then over here I have like a big white mirror. So usually if you follow me on Instagram, you will see me taking a picture here, and the mirror is actually like, if it was this but it wasn't lighting, it's much bigger than this. Like it's a big mirror. Maybe I will just use this one because honestly I know this one's lighting and mine doesn't light, but this is a little bit more realistic. And I refuse to put shoes and stuff around this area. I'm like, if we're gonna have one nice thing, let it be here. And now that I'm imagining my house, we also have got another window here which is not even gonna fit. This window is like frosted glass almost. It's like a design to match the door. I honestly can't find the right door to match, but some houses don't have anything here. If you can imagine, if we cut the two sides off of that door off, that's my front door, and then we've got like glass on this side. But look, doesn't have to be the exact kind of idea, but that is what you would have here at the front. And again, I know I'm mixing this with some realism and then some of my house because I think my house is realistic, but I tend to try my very best to at least keep this section of the house clean. Like I just try my very best because as you first come into the house, you want your mind to be clear. And like I shove all the crap under the stairs so that I can't see it when I first come in. And then like my living space or like my kitchen is a lot more cluttered than the actual front room. Like front like hallway area. I also then have got a painting up above here, and it's actually like a Japanese design, so I'm thinking maybe I could do actually something like this, literally that, but like it's like a blue design. Okay, I'm like bit by bit working through the house. It still requires a lot. I mean, the bathrooms are pretty simple, so I might just do them off camera, but maybe let's do the sitting room together next. So sitting rooms are just so different these days. So because of our old build, we still have got the fireplace, but new builds in Ireland actually don't have fireplaces anymore. They've got like this fancy method of heating and electricity, and it's like just so different, and the floor is heated. So I'm going to combine those two styles together. But the most common thing in Ireland, it's actually people can't live without this, is an L-shaped couch. Everyone has an L-shaped couch. It's like, if you don't have one, who even are you? We don't have one, so I feel totally just excluded from the fun. We've got very old couches because they came with the house, because we're still renting. But if you can imagine, like, people are obsessed with this idea. And also, why are these colors not matching? I guess it's not really supposed to have this done to it, but an L-shaped couch is something, and usually it's pushed against the wall. So it's either going to be kind of just like in the center like this, or else it's going to be against this wall or the other one. Actually, maybe it would be a little bit more like this. I mean, I'm not trying to say that everyone has an L-shaped couch, but it's a very, very common idea of people really liking them. So it would make sense to also try put one here. I might just do these curtains here too, because again, as I said, these are a very common design. And before you come at me being like, oh my god, I cannot believe you use those curtains again, just the way it is. So you're gonna have to just believe me on this one, that is the curtains that we've got. So maybe if I do something like this here, right? So we've got like an L-shaped couch. Oh, the fireplace positioning in this case doesn't really make a lot of sense. I mean, can I just like center it? I guess I can. This is my build at the end of the day. But imagine something like this, right? And then you would have another little chair on this side potentially. And then you've got like a coffee table. But I guess this room, it's a bit of a weird one, to be honest with you. But you know the way in The Sims, like we always do like a beautiful couch in the center and 2 armchairs? Nowhere in hell did I ever see that in Sims. In real life, we just don't have that. Like we value, I think, the space around more so than the actual like aesthetics of the space. At my parents' house, like we've got a TV above the fireplace, and you guys always give out to me for putting the TV up there because it's too high, but that is just our reality. And like my mom would sit on this side, just say, and she would still watch the TV from the side. So not everything is always going to be like super realistic. Maybe actually, do you know what? Maybe let's get inspired by my parents' house, because we've got a beautiful couch. It is an L-shaped couch, but before we had that, we actually had 2 separate couches, which is similar to what we also had in this house. I don't know why I'm going for this green color, but that's kind of what we had. And the couches were like almost intertwining with each other. So that's why we ended up just getting an L-shaped couch, because we knew that that's what we wanted. You know, something like this, genuinely, like it just makes a lot of sense. I guess even I could center this a bit more with that. This couch is it's just doing its own thing over there. Some people have like poofs underneath their little coffee tables, and I love that idea, because if I could, I would definitely have some sort of like a design where I can like store my poofs under my coffee table. Of course, we would just have a lovely rug. I mean, these days, the aesthetics of like interiors, a lot of people have very similar styles. So if you go to like a very popular shop, a hardware shop in, you know, anywhere you live, everyone buys the same kind of stuff because the aesthetics are like so repeated. So whatever is just in fashion or like popular or trending, people just get it. And that kind of pisses me off sometimes, because I'm like walking by and I'm like, girl, I've seen that in The Sims like 70 years ago, and now people are only like getting obsessed with it. So to find a house, especially like a new build, that is like a specific styling and it is different, is so hard. Like it just really is hard. So I kind of want to make it realistic in that sense. So I'm trying to find items that look kind of contemporary and fancy and modern, but also just bland and boring and old. And like we've seen that like 100 times, and that's just the way it is. Maybe actually something like that literally is just simple, and you'd find that in shops. I don't know if you guys have those shops, but like Yisk, obviously like IKEA, but we've got Yisk, which is really common to us. And then even like shops like Harvey Norman, or like we've got a shop called The Range, which is really, really cool as well, but they all have like the same stuff in them. So sometimes it's just so hard, and I cannot wait to like refurbish my own house and make it look really good. But for now, every time I look at these things in shops, I'm like, guys, you all have the same items at home. It is actually crazy, especially with the new builds. They all just get the exact same stuff. I guess back in the day, it was also the same of like the landlord going to IKEA and just buying everything in IKEA, and everyone's house looked like an IKEA catalog. It was so annoying. It was either like a really old traditional Irish home, or else like mix a little bit of IKEA into that. And it was just like really weird. I honestly don't know what to do here, because a lot of people have like a built-in fireplace. So they would almost have like massive built up like modular cabinets and stuff, not even bookcases. I wouldn't really see too much like bookcases like that, but maybe in this case we could just play with that narrative of, you know, having different furniture. So maybe if we have like this thing here, and then also going and getting another surface, which this is kind of what my parents have. We've got like a separate thing here, and then a totally different like wooden furniture piece on the other side, because I feel like that's realistic. Not everyone's always going to buy the exact same beautiful fancy item. Things are different, you know, and it's hard to sometimes get matching things because things may be expensive. So you're just kind of collecting over time, which is essentially what we're doing in this house. Like and I think you would really often see wooden objects that are like so close to each other in style. They're just not close enough. So in this room in particular, I'm kind of thinking about my parents' house. My dad actually has like a little computer section here, which actually, you know what, maybe I will do that. Like a lot of people might have their office space inside, you know, their living space. Not everything is going to be super realistic. My dad literally has, now if you think about it, he kind of sits at an angle. Okay guys, I think I'm happy enough with this space now. I mean, I have again made it a little bit more like the way that I would have it. So actually the one thing I wanted to put here was a console. So the way that we have our thing, like our sitting room laid out, is slightly different to this, but this is more so inspired by my parents' house. We do have the console literally just like right over there. Then we've got some like family photos, so that's why I have these frames to kind of symbolize that. And then then this little section right here, it also symbolizes what my mom has done on the wall. So she's done like a collage very similar to this. And the reason why there's so many Japanese pictures is because I have been to Japan a few times now and I love Japan so much. So she obviously just has like a few pictures of like me in Japan and things like that. So I think that makes sense because there's some like family photos and things, you know, just it looks kind of like what we have. We have like all different frames and stuff, which I really love the way it looks. It makes the house feel really homely. We've got cushions that are all different, and I guess cushions are the most like stylized. Actually, maybe I'll change the couches to this because these are closer to my parents' couches colors couches. What am I trying to say? But the cushions it's easier to change the aesthetic with changing the cushion cover than the actual couch. So things would still be kind of roughly all around the same color. And then over here, I've just added a couple of extra cluttery bits. My dad doesn't have this technically here, but like I'd like to think that maybe this is another like workspace for somebody. And again, I mean, I sometimes like to draw or take notes for videos on the couch while I watch, you know, like YouTubers and stuff. So I've got blue light glasses as well that I thought were quite interesting. I've got like a little controller there because I don't really have like satellite TV. I just watch either YouTube videos, so I either stream it from my phone or else sometimes you can do it with like a console. So I thought that was quite interesting. And also this is where we eat our food, so that's how we've got plates and stuff. We don't use our dining room, even though I would love to. If I did refurbish my kitchen to look like more like a new build, we would obviously try and use our dining room here, but we love to eat in front of the TV, so I think that's quite interesting. So then downstairs here, I was just working on the little bathroom, which honestly I don't really know what else to put here into this bathroom because like downstairs bathrooms are so basic boring that I honestly don't really know what else to put. I guess I'm gonna put this a little plunger kind of cleaner thing. I do like the plunger from the other pack, but it's just so big. The plunger is not that big. The plunger is actually really cute and small, so I suppose I could fit that there, but it just looks very dramatic. I guess we can move on upstairs, and I'm going to do the bathroom off camera as I said, but I was starting to work a little bit more on our bedroom. And honestly, our bedroom is a bit of a disgrace, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, it's fine, but so we've got these like IKEA white nightstands, right? So imagine this. Mine, absolutely lovely and clean. I think I even have like a beautiful salt lamp on my bedside locker. You know, I'd have like a cup here and there. My fiance then, glasses and cups as if we run a bar in the bedroom. I'm like, can you please bring the cups downstairs? He's like, oh yeah, I can. And then I just hear him like huddling like 17 glasses from his bedside locker, and I'm like, I'm actually gonna cry. I know I'm like exposing him here and it's really funny, but like sometimes it drives me insane. I have like a beautiful candle as well as a salt lamp, literally like this salt lamp on my bedside locker. I also, now you guys are gonna laugh, you guys are gonna be like, what the heck is this girl talking about? But I have plushies. I love plushies. I've got plushies from Japan. I've got plushies that I saved from when I was a kid. Plushies to me are very important, and I actually have like a little grey one on my bedside locker that Rich actually got me for Valentine's Day, and I like to keep him on my bedside locker. But also a lot of my plushies are like really symbolic, and like some of them are from Japan, so we would have them like on the bed. Like I have one here, and then like I just like put them on the ground or whatever if I'm like going to bed, but like I just have plushies. I also just went to make a cup of tea downstairs, and I had a look at some other things that we have, and there's a couple of items in the game that I wish we could add. So for instance, I like to dry my clothes on a horse rack, and horse racks just don't exist in the game. But I just went downstairs, and my layout of my sitting room is obviously slightly different, so I usually dry my clothes by the window because that's where the natural sun comes in the nicest. So I thought that was quite interesting. Also, hot water bottles in Ireland are very common, so like you obviously boil water and put it into this like little bottle that keeps you warm. So that is definitely an item that we don't have in the game that I wish we did. And here in the corner, I'm actually going to put, because we've got a TV on our little chest of drawers. So this chest of drawers is actually a chest of drawers from my parents' house that it was in my bedroom, but we were renovating my parents' house, so I actually took it to this house. And then in the corner, I swear to God, we've got so much laundry. I've been kind of putting my laundry away because I kind of wanted to buy a dryer, so we've been kind of waiting, like holding off, but we've got so many laundry baskets in this house that I actually kid you now, we've also got one of these that has like the clean laundry, just say like put away. We've got so much laundry to do. Like if you can imagine like a stack of clothes actually like above, like there is like a mountain of clothes. Even though we've got the baskets, they're also full of clothes. I wish these were like full of clothes, but I have like a mountain of clothes. So imagine this. this, but actually a mountain of clothes in the corner. So I will wait until I've got to do my laundry. So for now we don't. Then in the summertime, we do actually have got a fan because our house is not really well insulated. So we do have a fan, but then also like right now it's so cold here that it is a little bit annoying. For the curtains actually in the sitting room, we have opted for a shorter version of a curtain because we didn't really want to cover the radiator as much, and I actually don't think The Sims has what I'm looking for. We just got like a really long, like again, imagine this thing but just cut in half, which is a little annoying. Wait, unless I do this. Essentially, oh guys, essentially this is what we've got. If I just move the window, you guys are gonna be like, she's using those curtains again, but I swear this is the closest thing. Maybe that's why I use it all the time. Okay, it doesn't go any lower. Okay, well I guess this could still work. So I usually have like one here and one here, and then we've got a little rod. Now our curtains are actually like a bluey color in this room, so I would say they're more so like this with a white rod. Yeah, that's literally the closest thing that I can get. Just gonna look a little silly here, but you just gotta trust that process. As I said, not everything in houses like this is going to be perfect. I also always have my bottle, which I do have one purple one, but I also have like a bluey one, so maybe I'll actually use this one instead. Then we've got my little plushie. I usually bring a cup of green tea to bed with me as well. Like I'd like to have options. I've got like water, and then sometimes I've got a cup of sparkling water, and then sometimes I've got tea as well. So I'm just like very particular with my drinks on my bedside locker. On the other bedside locker, if you want me to be realistic, it would literally be like a bar, like full of like glasses. I don't even think we've got like regular glasses here. So maybe on the other one, I'll just do like a regular bedside locker. I also have got like my, just say like Nintendo Switch on my bedside locker. Again, like a phone charger would be kind of like resting here on the ground. An extension lead coming out too, which we have none of those items. So they are kind of hard to create something so realistic if I'm very much so limited to only a couple of items, which is kind of annoying. Like I don't really know what to put up here because, well, I guess actually I have an incense holder here because I do like some incense. This incense thing is giving me PTSD from my Let's Play that I'm doing because I kept burning my house down. And then I actually have like plushies and stuff up there, but maybe I just won't put any more plushies. Oh, I do have a plant actually. Sorry, my most prized possession, my pride and joy of a plant, which actually this will probably be the closest to it, but imagine that as a monstera plant in a black pot if possible. I am actually so proud of this plant. It's like the one plant I do not kill. I have a lot of fake plants around. I mean, actually, all of these back there are fake, but I do have one aloe vera plant, which is actually on the floor in the corner because I'm still redoing my background. It's still a work in progress. It's realistic. I mean, nothing's ever going to be perfect, but I only have like 3 plants that are alive, and I have killed so many plants. It's actually not even funny. Like, it's crazy. But I don't know if you guys know, but you know those like fake IKEA little ferns? I've got loads of them around the place. I've got a stack of lovely books, actually would be really close to this item. So I specifically stacked them together because they're like my Japanese books, so they're all like nicely stacked there. I've got like random like little tour books like of Japan and stuff, so yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I tried to keep this as like not cluttered as possible, but it's still kind of cluttered. And then up above here, if we're being realistic to my house, I do have some of my prints that I did when I was in college. So I've got one painting that almost looks like this, and it's here, right? Then I've got, so the reason why I didn't want to like put proper paintings up here is because obviously we're renting this house, so it's still not ours, so we didn't really want to put too many nails in the walls, but there was already nails in this wall, so we were like, oh perfect, let's just use these nails. So we used them, which is great, but now all of our things are like, they're all kind of like at different heights, and it's not like a cool different height thing, it's just like very random. So I've got like some of my like prints and paintings like this, which does make it kind of cool, and then we've got like this beautiful frame of like me and Rich, like just from random countries. He got me as a present, but there's nothing that's similar to that. So imagine I just put another one of these here, and it's like at a slightly lower angle because of where the nails were in the wall. That makes a lot of sense. And then we've got another pile of laundry here because it's just great. I cannot wait to get my dryer because that is just gonna help me so much. I'll actually even put this basket here because we've got like baskets of like laundry. Laundry is taking over my life, I'm not gonna lie. It's actually bizarre. It's crazy. I also use my bed to like fold my laundry and stuff. So I feel like there would be like a bit of laundry here. Sometimes I put cushions on my bed, but I tend to stop doing that because I didn't like the idea of like taking the cushions off at night and then putting them on the ground and then putting them back up next to my clean like pillows. I thought that was a little bit unhygienic. Not that I care about germs and things like that, but it just felt right not to do that. And sometimes there is like random crap from underneath our bed as well. So I think that's very realistic. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie. I kind of hate it because I'm like exposing myself slightly. I'm showing you the like worst case scenario here. Like we don't have like stuff like that on the ground, and like we have plushies and stuff around because I just love plushies. But just being realistic, I'm showing you like the worst case scenario of what our bedroom could look like. So it's just, I think it's a reality for a lot of people that our house is never going to just look clean and just like a catalog home. So I think there's just something so like satisfying about every once in a while doing something like that in The Sims, because it just shows that life is not perfect, and we all don't have the exact same amount of money that we all spend on the exact same things in life. Like maybe one of your bedside lockers has a really nice fancy lamp. I mean, that would be a dream of mine to buy like a really lovely fancy lamp, but that doesn't mean it matches anything else. I've got no other paintings up above my bed or anything. So I'm gonna take this place and I'm gonna run with it, and that is essentially what we would have. Sorry, now that I think about it, we have got one of these. Yes, okay, so that is your little slightly realistic bedroom. Now I think I am just going to add a rug just because I really like the idea of having a rug in the bedroom. But again, it doesn't have to be exactly like my bedroom, but maybe like a little frilly rug, just like a very basic one, kind of like that. I think that would make sense. And then just because this is a bedroom, I will add maybe like a nice mirror here as well, because I feel like that wall for us is just kind of bare and boring, but that doesn't mean it has to be super bare and boring. Now, in my house, it's a no shoe household, so that's why all the shoes are kind of down here at the bottom, and that is also very important. And now that I think about it, we also have got some stuff out here, right? So hear me out. Out here where everyone can see, I always kind of feel traumatized about this area because like my next door neighbor has his like this area like so beautiful and tidy, and he's got like a lovely incense holder and stuff. My area, not that great. So what we've got is this like really old stool that I actually made in woodwork when I was in school, right? So imagine kind of like something like this, and it just kind of sits there. On top of it then is a really nice big fern plant, which is kind of something like this actually. And it's sitting on top of this, which honestly shouldn't be. It should be on the ground somewhere. Then we've got another like little welcome mat, which is actually kind of like a light kind of grey bluey color. So we've got that there. And then we've got some amount of shoes here and like a random stupid crap. Like sometimes we would have shopping bags there. Sometimes I take stuff out of my car and just like put it here. But we've got some amount of crap here. Then for Christmas, I would decorate and put like a Christmas tree and stuff here. Like there was just like, sometimes there would be a box, like God knows what the box is. Sometimes then there will be a package. Makes sense. Like the man delivers the package here. He doesn't touch my door over there, I suppose. But it's just really funny how like I'm just showing you all of this. And again, this is probably not going to be functional. If you want to use this house, you'll have to delete a couple of items like these boxes and things. I am just trying to show you what my house is, because a lot of the time rules are in our house are just step over it if it bothers you, like that kind of way, you know. So that's kind of something that we would have. And another super realistic thing that is, I suppose, more so common here in Ireland than like in other countries, I'm presuming, is our mailbox is on our door. Our mailbox is essentially like a really skinny kind of mailbox, but it's a part of your front door. So yeah, none of these would make any sense, to be honest with you. That is kind of annoying. So we've got like a mailbox on this door, we've got a mailbox on that door. So it's just like little slits in the doors, and I'm sure you guys have seen that in certain Sims doors, because some of them actually have it, like it's just like a part of the door. But that essentially is what my kind of door looks like, which is kind of funny. Not really funny, it's just, it looks so messy. I swear, it's just a lived in house. It's wholesome. Over here then, now I'm remembering that I've got a little planter. So one of them would be slightly bit bigger, and then the other one is like a smaller one. And weirdly enough, I actually have flowers growing in the winter. A little bit sus. The other one is just kind of like a ferny looking thing. I think it's honestly just weeds growing out of that. But I've got pink flowers growing at the front of my house, and I was like, excuse me, like, are we okay? Is nature doing fine? I don't think she is, but it's kind of something that we've got over here. Yeah, this table I just went downstairs to check. It's a little bit more of like a woodeny with black legs, but again, I'm not going to get the exact same thing here. Yeah, I like to keep this space kind of clean. I suppose you maybe would have like glasses and stuff here, like car keys. We definitely do have car keys here because we've got like another bowl underneath this. So now I'm going to just do the bathroom off camera and just like the hallway, because you kind of have nothing in the hallway except for a plant in the corner to prevent my cat from peeing inside this corner. He has a really bad anxiety and that poor cat just struggles. So I have like a medium-sized plant kind of like this inside the corner to prevent him from peeing in that corner, which is really sad. Okay guys, so I've done the bathroom here, so it's quite realistic. Again, I tried to make it as realistic to my bathroom. So I usually like to put some towels and stuff to dry on the radiator. Of course, I wear a retainer at night, so I couldn't find a retainer in the game, but I found these oh my god, there is a retainer. Oh my god, I'm gonna cry. Okay, I did not realize that was a different swatch. I thought that was always just teeth, but that's a retainer. Well, it's not a retainer that I wear. I just wear like a clear one that holds my teeth together, but that's a retainer. I feel seen. I feel overwhelmed. I feel seen. Anyways, guys, we've got that. We've got toothpaste that's used, and we've got some like really nice skincare because I liked my skincare too. I love candles, and recently actually I started using candles in the like while I'm showering, to light candles instead of the big light, to really just like de-stress and like calm my mind, because there's something kind of nice about showering not in the dark but like in like a chill environment. Anyway, we've got like some extra random storage and things like that, but again, that is probably the closest thing. Now my bin is probably empty for about like 2 hours and then it's full of random crap again. So I don't really like how unrealistic that is. Like I wish there was like dirt and like rubbish inside the bin, but I guess I could go into debug and probably debug that up a bit. But look, I'm just getting very inspired by what Deli did and how she did her build, that I kind of just wanted to see what I can create out of this. Also, then in the hot press we have some towels and things, which actually I don't have many towels in there. A lot of my towels are just in my storage section over here, which actually, now that I think about it, should be white. I don't know why the default is like a green swatch, but we've got some random stuff. There's actually some like PC parts inside there, so we've got random crap in our hot press. But then I thought the one last room we could do together maybe would be this office. And now honestly, this office space, it's a little bit bigger in real life. Imagine by a half a tile, but this is actually my fiance's office. So I'm actually going to refurbish this as if it's my office. So the way that you see it, as best as I can, I'm going to try put the stuff inside here just so you can kind of visualize what my office looks like. So I've got an IKEA desk, but it's one of those ones that could be raised up, but not those like fancy plug into the wall mechanic ones that goes up by themselves. I just have those legs that can be readjusted. Reason for that is because I've got a bad back, and I always thought that would be really handy for me. But the closest thing honestly that I could picture would be this desk. It's pretty boring. Now my chair, extremely old, nothing fancy. It's slightly blue. It has like blue, I don't know whether you can see it behind me. It's got like blue fabric, but I guess maybe I'll just go for like one of these in just like a black color, I suppose. Or maybe like, no, I guess I'll just go for one of these because it is still meant to be like a gaming chair, but if you can imagine, the inside is a little bit more blue, unless maybe one of these has that kind of swatch. No, and I guess like that's way too fancy. I don't think any of my chairs are that any of my chairs. I only have one chair. My chair's not that fancy. Anyways, then I actually have got, obviously I've got a PC which is on the ground, which I will do that, but I've got two monitors. One of them is connected to my desk with an arm, which I don't know how I'm going to show you that. But maybe what I could do is I could just do this and then just take the other TV and just put it behind it, you know, like this one. I could just kind of do this. So I do have two monitors. That's probably the closest thing that I will be able to get to this setup. Yeah, it probably makes the most sense. Oh, well, actually, oh my God, I'm an idiot. There is this thing. I mean, it's okay. If I could make this bigger. Oh no, it doesn't scale very well. But this kind of thing is, I guess, what I have. So imagine like this arm. That's what I've got for my monitor. colors. And I actually have this with like clutter in front of me, and I've got a white mouse mat, and my mic is actually white too, so that would make sense, but it is extremely small. It doesn't feel that small, like it feels a lot bigger. And then I've obviously got like big lights here and stuff. Maybe I could just scale this down, right? So I've got one ring light, which is also connected to my desk, and then I've also got like one of those box lights, which I thought I had here. So I was fully convinced there was another version of that light that I was thinking about, but I guess I don't have that. So that's what we've got here. Then I've got a tiny little plant, which essentially is like the equivalent of this. Look, I can even show you. I've got one of these. It looks like a slightly longer version of this plant, so I'm gonna put that there. Then I've also got a little white candle next to it. This is one of my favorite ones. It's called Lemon Balm, and it's made out of natural waxes. And I love lighting that. I keep repurchasing like the exact same one. So that's chilling like kind of right here. Then I've got like things like my stream deck, my speakers. I've got like a random little light here as well. Wait, now I think this needs batteries. Yeah, it does. It doesn't want to light. As I told you, I don't mind a good little plushie or something like that. I always have. Oh yeah, this is actually the thing I was trying to explain to you. That's on my bedside locker. So this thing, I guess that's the closest color to it. So I also would have this on this side. Reason why I don't have anything on the other side is because that's where my PC is. So I guess I will use the one from the little Simsy kit. And my PC is black, and it actually does have some RGB lighting on it. So that's pretty realistic. Today I also have got like my plate here because I was eating, so maybe I could add like a plate. Like I had my lunch while recording. Oh, these are cool plates. Maybe I'll just make it a bit smaller and just show that like, oh yeah, I was having my lunch here earlier. Yeah, other than that, that's kind of everything. I've got like my little cup of tea here today, so I suppose I could have one of those. And as I said, I tried to keep all of my like food and water on this side because of my PC on the other end. So I guess I probably would go like here. I do like a good rug, and honestly this rug always reminds me of the rug that I've got in my room. So there's like a little rug down there, so I'm gonna just use that as like a metaphor to kind of like show you like the rug and the carpet. Yeah, that's kind of what my setup looks like. So I suppose what I'll do is I'll just clutter this space a little bit more to make it look like a realistic office space, and that will be kind of everything for the house. So we will just go through and see if there's anything else we could add. I'm just adding random bits of clutter, and also just to show you, this is where I dry my hair. I dry it in this room because that's like my little vanity room. It's actually just over there. Yeah, maybe something like that actually works. And I suppose what I want to do above my shelf is to have like, I suppose, a little painting of some sort, or like a little picture framed. So just say imagine like this one here, just one singular one, maybe not necessarily white, maybe like a darker color. But then over here I also want to do like a little collage of like little paintings, so maybe I'll also add that because I've got some pictures on the way. So that would make sense. I also have got a little bin in here too. So again, a bin is necessary almost in like every room. I have it just by the door. I really like having stuff on my windowsill. Again, my room, I definitely try and keep it as tidy as possible. It's always, you know, it's not always going to be the nicest, the best thing that you can do. Sometimes you are just going to have clutter. But unfortunately, with my anxiety, with how my brain works, I like to, okay, how do I put this in a nice way? I bin a lot of stuff, and I'm kind of okay with binning things. I think a part of that comes from the idea of me moving countries and being able to just pick up my life. And now I'm thinking, I just recently got a chair, so hold on a while. Why don't we put a little chair here? I know again it doesn't really make that much sense here in the corner, but I want a chair. And yeah, I'm just kind of happy to be able to create this space a little bit more of my own. But yeah, that's my little office space. Essentially, we now have gotten everything. We've got nothing in our hallway, and I think that would be quite realistic also. The one thing we do have is we actually have got like towels on our banister, if you get me. Wait a second, I could do this. I guess this still shows you the idea that like, I mean, I don't have a railing attached to the railing for the towel, but the towel, we do put it over the railing so that it will dry faster. Okay, so we've got that there, right? So now looking at my house, let me think about the actual structural things. So what we do have outside, actually at the moment we've got nothing, because for the winter we just move like all of our chairs. That's why I put these chairs here. All of our outdoor furniture is moved like either inside, or else we buy kind of like cheap enough furniture that like sometimes you just bin it because it's just not that great. But then, well, what else would I have? have out here. So our heating is done with oil. So it's like oil heating. So we would have like a boiler back here as well. But I'm just going to pretend that all of that is in this room, which, you know, kind of makes sense, kind of doesn't at the same time. Lord really knows at this point what the heck is going on. I'm trying to make this realistic and make this work, but it is a little tough. So we've got our bins out the side. We've got alarms. Like alarms, they're like fire alarms, but they're not on the wall. They're actually on the ceiling. We've got pet bowls because obviously we've got a cat. So we've got like some scratching posts here and stuff. Honestly, my cat has loads of toys around like the place, mainly in the kitchen because he likes to play here. Because honestly, in our kitchen, it's such a big open space that he just can like run around and like just make this place his own. But I bought my cat, and throughout like all of my years of having a cat, I bought my cat so many. Oh, the litter box. Damn it, I forgot about the litter box. I know this video is not exactly like Deligracy's video where she's like, you know, she even like measured the space between the doors of where the doors should be. I'm only just inspired by Deli just to show you like the realism of my house. So don't like take this video with a pinch of salt. It's not supposed to be like 100% realistic. As I said, this is still Sims. It's Sims-listic in my eyes. But my cat has went through so many different pet beds. So things like this, things like that, even the enclosed ones, beautiful, fancy, cozy mansions. And do you think the cat likes it? Absolutely not. If you've ever had a cat, you know, well, maybe your cat likes cat beds. My cat absolutely hates them. He will sleep anywhere but a cat bed. So I'm not even going to bother putting a pet bed here. And I know you guys are always going to be like, the cat has nowhere to sleep or nowhere to play. My cat hates everything I give him. He will play with a piece of tinfoil on the ground over the toys that I bought him. One time when I went to France, I bought him, like I went to a pet shop and I bought him this like fancy croissant pet toy. Do you think he liked it? No, he didn't. From that Arrange hood. My God, Sandra. And trust me, when you're like, oh God, it looks so sterile, a lot of new builds are like this. And this, I suppose this part of the house is inspired by a new build. So that does make sense. I feel like I'm going to remember things once I finish recording. So please let me know what else you think you would add. And then we can have like a fun little chat in the comments on what else you guys would have in your home. But like just looking at it now, that's kind of all I really would have in my house. And again, I am, as I said, I'm more of a person that really declutters my space. So even this already looks like a little bit too much clutter. And even if there's clutter like this, I tend to like pile things together just to make things look a little bit neater and a little bit tidier. But look, anyways, then just say if we were to have outdoor furniture, we really only have like a couple of chairs, which I don't even think Sims has those type of chairs. It's kind of like this, but just like purely made out of plastic, like similar to like, imagine these. Yeah, actually these kind of things. Yeah, we've got like literally these. So maybe I'd have two of them, but also we just don't have that much. I have a couple of extra planter pots out the back. So we've got like some small ones. We've also got windowsills on the outside of our houses. So sometimes I would put like plants on top of those. We've actually got like some trees growing in those that we could then plant into the ground. So I think that's pretty cute too. And I know some people are going to be like, why do you wish this? But I wish there was a mechanism to cut grass in The Sims. I would love a lawnmower in The Sims. I think that would be just fantastic because in real life, I actually really love cutting the grass. Maybe I'll actually put this other boiler out here, and maybe this could be a representation of our heating boiler. So that's our like radiator boiler, which yes, it's kind of like small and it just makes sure that the water gets circulated. But then this is the oil that heats it. So that's then gets sent to our radiators and like pumped all around the house. And then this boiler comes from the attic space, which we have a small attic space, nothing really major, but that's where the water tank is, and that's what heats the water for our house. I suppose that's how that kind of works. And I don't really know what else to add to this house. So I guess I might just leave this at that because as I said, we don't really have anything outside. Outside is quite boring, and we would love to refurbish all of this once we, you know, get a chance or potentially buy this house. But yeah, guys, that is what my realistic house looks like. I mean, I don't really like the way it looks, but if you zoomed out of my house right now, that's probably a similar look that you would find. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this. I'm not going to do a tour because I just feel like I've been around this house for so long and I've like zoomed in and out like enough in each room to show you guys everything. And we've worked, like this video is probably going to be slightly bit longer than usual. I say this now, but I mean, I could have edited it down still. But I think that is everything. But I'm going to maybe comment below if there's other things that while I'm editing this that maybe I would have forgotten, or maybe that I wanted to add. You guys can also let me know. Oh wait, now we do have like 1 or 2 of these, but these are like plastic ones that I bought in the shop. Not like really pretty ones. They're just like these battery operated ones. Yeah, honestly, that's kind of everything. We do usually have our cars parked outside the front, but this lot didn't really give me much room for that. And I suppose if you were looking at Innisgreen, you would find a house that looks like this. Obviously more so than the colorful ones, even though this area does actually exist in Ireland. Like there is colorful homes like this in Ireland, but this is what the majority of Irish kind of old builds look like. That essentially, if you look at my house from Google Maps, that is kind of what it looks like. So anyways, guys, if you have enjoyed this video, let me know if there's any other kind of realistic builds like that you would like me to try. Maybe in the future we could try one with a little bit more generational ideas in there, maybe with some kids and things like that. But that is just like my ideal house that I would love to own, I suppose, and refurbish. So let me know what you think of this video, and let me know what else you'd like me to do with this. Actually, now that I think about this, how fun would it be if I take this build now and just like refurbish it and make it look really nice and clean and tidy and like not messy and just like really neat and stuff. That would be really fun too. But as I said, let me know if there's any other builds like this that you would like me to try. And thank you so much for Delicacy for always inspiring my channel, and I was so interested to see her Australian type of home that I'm really hoping that you guys would enjoy this type of Irish traditional style basic home. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching. If you have enjoyed, don't forget to subscribe, and I shall see you in the next video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.